they never were overly amazing at. Inferno was always kind of this Achilles heel for them, but they've been putting a lot more work into it now, so hopefully we'll get to see that on display and really see what that groundwork has done to them. As you're saying, for Xenex, there is a little bit of possibility behind them off the back of the knife run. I believe they will be starting off on that CT side, so if they've got some tricks up their sleeves, they might be able to get a bit of an early lead in, and that's what they need in a matchup like this. But let's jump into it straight away. This one's going to go down.
Yeah, well, Arden going to be leading the charge as they heads up. Banana gets taken down almost immediately. Mighty Max going to be following up with the Glock, looking for some kills, but the lineup of Alter Ego is just getting decimated right now. They don't seem to be able to find anything. Ezio going to be the last man. He's stuck on Banana with just a Glock, though, and I don't think he's going to be able to find much here. There's only 2 CTs remaining, though, so maybe if he can land a couple of good headshots, he could still be in with a chance here. Going to smoke behind him just to make sure he's just in that 1 versus 1, but looks like he's just going to be hanging around for now.
He's going to tiptoe his way back up towards top banana though. Gizmo's holding the angle, USP in hand. Should be able to dispatch him with a single bullet, but unfortunately couldn't quite land it and is forced to retreat as well. JP just waiting towards top banana, but Esso is going to rip his head clean off absolutely through the smoke, decimating him there as he now has 1 minute left to play with on the clock. Can begin to rotate off towards that A-bomb site, but Gizmo smells a rat. He's aware that something's afoot and will begin to kind of rotate of his own. Arrives towards Arch, still 50 seconds left on the clock. Esso will eventually get that bomb planted, but he's got to dispatch 1 man. Smoke goes out to give him a little bit of cover, tries to zone out the CT so he can play around this. Well, Gizmo be able to retake this efficiently. Oh, SEO pushing up on the close angle, 5-7 in hand, will follow it up. That is a nice free K to finish things off for SEO there, and the first terrorist round is going to be picked up.
Yeah, certainly is, and really well played by Ezio. I'd already called that the round was just about over. He was in that 2 versus 1, but hid away in his smoke for a little while, made sure that he could take each fight 1 versus 1, didn't have to go into that disadvantage, and then was able to take away the round. So very well played by Ezio, and that's going to mean that now Alter Ego are in good stead pushing on into this round, because they've got some weapons to work with. They've got the economy on their side. It's going to be Mighty Max pushing up Banana here, looking to try and find a pick maybe onto Lifelike or onto Logan, but doesn't look like anyone's really going to be pushing this one just yet. Lifelike going to be on the scene with his Desert Eagle. Can he find the shot, though? It doesn't look like he can. And now it's going to be the opportunity to push on forwards here as Mighty Max makes the entry on towards Banana, and they can get straight onto the site, but there are 2 CTs just laying in wait here. JP and Shaw just hiding in these corners. Nobody spotted them just yet. It's going to be Mighty Max jumping on round, and he finds one for himself. Shaw going to be there as well, just waiting to try and fight somebody, but Mighty Max tears them apart, gets a 3K for himself, and another round for Alter Ego.
Yeah, smart stuff from there, obviously. Sending those 2 players towards Banana early on. The idea is you try and bait them in, believe that you have taken down 2 Banana players. They've played a little bit over-aggressively. You've got the better of them. And then you have the 2 men that are just going to hide in shadows on the site. One by the second orange is there, and just tuck in, wait for the push to come out. You peek at the same time and try and do a little bit of damage. But obviously, Alter Ego, aware of this was going to be a stack play, or there was potential for people still on the site, cleared all the angles, took it smartly, and didn't have any of the negative side effects of Xenex playing in the way they did. Aggressive apps control actually coming out very early on here. It's going to be Immy as he just glides his way across. We'll spot them out, but won't actually go back for a second face just yet. A little bit paranoid there about their positions. Didn't quite catch on what was going down.
Well, Arden's still pushing forwards, though. Needs to be a little bit careful. He's very far out all on his own right now. Doesn't want to push too far on this one by himself. But in the meantime, while he's causing this distraction, the rest of his team is starting to group up on Banana. JP just waiting for them to push on this one, though. He's standing ready with that 5-7. He's up against the rifles, though, of Alter Ego. And actually, JP pushing forwards a little bit here. He's looking for the kill onto Mighty Max, but he just can't finish it off. Mighty Max now with the CZ will go down as well, but it's Peggy who manages to answer that one in the end, and the B site is just about cleared out. Now we can see Gizmo looking to try and deny Arden, who's just sweeping up right now, and it's only going to be Lifelike. The last CT remaining, he's looking for Arden, does manage to take him down with the USP, but he's got his work cut out in a 1 versus 3 now, with only an MP7 to work with. This is going to be a difficult retake if he even wants to take it.
Yep, obviously not invested much into the round. We'll have cash into the following one, so he can try and get a little bit exuberant here as he just sprints his way up towards top Banana, but what we'll be able to achieve, obviously, Alter Ego all boys are in some fairly advantageous after plant positions. Quiver there, obviously, just scouting out to see if he can spot out ahead. The double nades will go in. Nice use of the flashbang there as well to buy him a little bit more time to play. If Peak comes out, and SEO will pick up another frag.
He certainly will, and that'll pick up a third round on the trot as well for Alter Ego. So fantastic start for this terrorist side, but now Xenex finally get a rifle round on the board. They've had enough of their ecos now, and they're going to be able to actually fight back, and a full volley of grenades going to be available in their arsenal as well. But the question is, are they going to be able to use these effectively? Are they going to be able to get themselves back into this game? Because realistically, at this point, if you lose that first rifle buy, you really start to fall behind. You really start to find yourself in a bit of a tricky situation. Shaw has spotted out this entire team pushing on through. He's going to get one through the smoke and then immediately backs away. Nice play from him, but they're pushing straight on towards this A site. We're going to stick in the eyes of Shaw for now as they start to push onto this site. It's going to be Ezio who gets taken down as well. But the T's are running out of members right now. Mighty Max finds one for himself, and Arden hanging around the car looking for the guy down in the pit there, but he's not quite going to be able to find the shots. And now Mighty Max in a 2 versus 1. We've seen a similar situation just through the eyes of Ezio last time. Mighty Max going to just go straight for the plant, and we're going to see the CT starting to push on in. Logan with the M4 isn't going to be able to find it because Lifelike has already took the head off of Mighty Max, and he's going to be able to get the defuse.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff there coming out on the retake, playing it very well. No over-aggressive plays really from Xenex. It was nicely done, good patience across the board. They have been able to pick that one up, and it was vital as well, because as you're saying, they need to try and get in there early and actually try and get a few rounds on the board. Obviously, the cash situation isn't fantastic. Their economy has taken a hit off the back of the exuberant spending, but they'll be able to make it do. They will force up and get into a fairly healthy buy off the back of that, but you can see the after effects on the level of economy they have. Now, jumping into round 5, obviously, they need to carry this on. They have to keep that ball rolling, or if they can't do so, they're going to be back into an eco. Obviously, the money will be reset. Not your ego this time around, getting a little bit aggressive. They're going to play in this default with 3 members towards mid, just holding out to see if there is going to be a push. We saw a little bit of aggressive play towards top banana as well. So just in case Xenex go for that, they will be lying in wait, holding out. It's going to be Tom Quiver towards top banana. No one getting overly aggressive this time, no. They will just be calming it down, taking their foot off the gas a little bit and waiting for the push to come to them.
I certainly will, and that seems to be kind of a relatively common strategy within UKCS, is kind of just play these rounds slow. When you're in this kind of even situation, you don't want to be the one that's making too many proactive plays very early in the round, because if it doesn't quite go right, if you just end up losing yourself a man, then you can really find yourself basically with a lost round if they can play the trades correctly. So just a very, very slow start to this one from Alter Ego. And Arden, again on this other side of the map, we keep seeing this from Arden. He seems to like to go for this kind of roam away from the squad. He's just going to join the rest of his team on Banana as they start to push on towards site. Mighty Max is going to be leading the charge, and he finds one onto Logan immediately as they enter this site. Last CT here is going to be Lifelike, as the rest of the team is just charging across the map to try and get here in time. Now we're going to see JP as well trying to get in on the action, but everywhere is just smoked off here. Really nice take here by Alter Ego, but Lifelike's still alive, so it's going to be 4 versus 5 as the retake begins.
Yeah, flashbang goes over the smoke. The second try push their way into the site. SEO will claim 2 immediately, though. Peggy comes in with a third on towards Lifelike and quickly tries to adjust over. Won't be able to get it because Max has already claimed the frag, and SEO actually gets sent off to the Burns ward as well there off the back of Peggy. But even then, the worst has occurred. Xenex, the money is going to be reset, and it's just not looking fantastic for them at all.
It's certainly not, and we'll see whether Xenex are really going to be able to make anything happen. Look at this, though. 5 high explosive grenades coming out on this on the back of that round loss. We've got a couple of 5.7s in there as well as a CZ, and actually JP going to find one to start things off. Arden coming from the side, though, and he's going to find 2 immediately. No armor on these CTs, but it's not going to stop Gizmo as he takes the head off of Peggy, finds himself an AK, and now he's looking for that player who is going to be able to take him down in the end. Now, the last CT remaining is going to be JP. He's already found one this round, has that 5.7, so has the capability to take out these armoured up terrorists, but it's certainly going to be a tricky task for him, as it looks like Ezio might just be looking towards the A site, which is good news for JP. However, I say it's good news, but the terrorist's going to come around the corner and just going to finish him off with ease.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff there. Xenex actually going for a very old reminiscent sort of source strat, where basically you do go for that 3-2 push. You play it off the back of spawns, you get the HEs in, try and get an upgraded pistol if you can afford it, and it won't affect you overly. You just go for that aggressive push down, hit the nades in as fast as you can, push off the back of it, and basically you sort of converge towards bottom mid, try and recover weapons, or just do as much damage you can to the economy of the other side. Or, if you're lucky, pick it up.
Certainly is, but Gizmo managing to find one very early on in that round. Kind of getting away with that, I feel, but a bit of counterfire came straight back on towards him, but couldn't quite find the target, so now we're going to see them pushing on towards this site. The Molotov is going to come in, and it's going to just toast him alive right there. Now 3 versus 3. As they try and get onto the site. The CT's pushing on to try and get this retake underway, but the rifles certainly are going to give the advantage over towards these terrorists.
Yeah, will do indeed. I mean, of course, the advanced arsenal is really going to help, but also the positioning comes into account there. Mighty Max just tucked in behind the barrels, will force Gizmo to go for the peak. Takes him down, just holds this tight little angle as well. Nearly spotted the head out of shore, but couldn't quite adjust in time, and then he will actually be taken down. It's just left on short and JP now. They want to go aggressive towards the bomb site. SEO just playing on the close angle. Not a lot of time left, so they can just try and bait it out for the meantime.
Yeah, it looks like they're deciding to back away from this one. They don't want to try and get it. And looking for exit frags, but they're not quite going to be able to find them. Tom Quiver, I think, just sacrificing his life there. He's aware that he can't get out of that one. And it is just going to be Shaw, the last man remaining. Does manage to take an AK on through, which is going to be great news for Xenex, because honestly, they are looking scarce for cash. They are going to be able to go for a full bite this round, but that AK could really make a difference in the upcoming next couple of rounds. It's certainly $3K that they desperately need at this stage in the game.
It is indeed. Now, Xenex, they have to try and make something out of this. They will do a fair bit of damage with that nade towards mid, but Tom Quiver immediately gets the opener. The aggression comes out as he strikes down JP, and they want to try and converge on towards the bomb site. Everyone is getting pinned, trapped in these very awkward positions right now. A frag will eventually come out of the way. Gizmo doubles it up as well. It's 2 for Tuesdays right now. He wants to go on for another one, but will he be able to get it? Peggy rattling those shots off. Will get the tag. Couldn't quite get the frag. Eventually, there will be a trade coming into the play, though. But Gizmo goes on. He's got the hat-trick so far. But his days are over. It's not going to matter, though, as Imi will eventually be taken down. The headshot comes out from Lifelike. And Xenex, once they had the cash back in their hands, they were able to pick up a round. But it's just like last time. Will they keep that ball rolling, or is it going to be short-lived?
That is going to be the question. And it's kind of very crucial at this late stage in the half as well, because if they can't get the ball rolling, if they can't get a little bit of momentum for themselves, they're just going to find themselves losing 2 or 3 rounds to Alter Ego here just because of that economy. And we've got a fairly decent buy coming out from Alter Ego anyway. That lost round hasn't really hurt them too much. Obviously, Peggy only has the Desert Eagle, but he's the only member that's not really gone for a complete buy here. But we've got someone waiting on stairs, and Arden is going to be able to take that headshot almost immediately. As Logan pushing quite aggressively here. Down Banana, just looking for kind of an opportunity to ambush one of these terrorist players as they try and push. But despite getting that early pick, Alter Ego still taking this round fairly slow.
Yeah, not going to go headstrong or get spooked. They will just be taking their time right now. Peggy, the Eagle in hand. Imi's taking a fair bit of damage, only 50 HP left, but they will eventually begin to make their play towards that A bomb site. Seems like it has been a bit of a ruse though, parting that seed out. They leave 2 men behind to try and still be a bit of a noise maker, try and force that idea for the meantime, and they've been able to fully rotate towards B. Smokes go over to zone out CTs that want to try and come from CT. There is just one man at the back of the site. If they can spot him out, this should be very easy for them. He's going for the jump phase to get the information. Goes for a little bit of a peek. The nades roll in. Should tag him down. Eventually will be bested. That's Tom Quiver in with a headshot. They've secured that B bomb site now and can begin to adjust. They just have to play their cards right. Only 3 men left standing on that CT side. JP peeks out, bites off far more than he can choose. He sees 3 men right in front of him. Tried to spray him down, but nothing's going to amount out of that round. It's just Lifelike and Shaw now forced into a save situation.
Yeah, and I mean, we just saw JP there getting nailed against the wall, essentially, by the terrorist side. And that is easily going to be enough to deter the rest of Xenex. And we just mentioned how difficult it's going to be off the back of losing this round if the economy resets again. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be seeing. They're desperate to hold on to these rifles if they can. Looks like they should get away with it. Arden is pushing on through apps. Lifelike might find a kill here if Arden pushes for it, but looks like he's decided against it in the end. So 2 rifles do go through for Xenex, which is kind of a silver lining to this grey cloud that is the Xenex CT half right now. And Alter Ego, they're absolutely laughing. They've still got full rifles, and they've still got enough to fully buy it again next round should they lose this round. They're really not in any kind of bad situation, and it looks like a very aggressive push towards Banana is going to be the call as Quiver gets tagged up by his own teammates there.
Yeah, they will be trying to go for this B play. Just trying to bait right now. So just go for these peaks. They're aware one of those weapons is on the site, so I don't want to get overly aggressive and actually run on into that lifelike. Trying to make the best of it as he goes for that peak. Somehow takes down Peggy as well, but Tom Quiver's had enough of this. We'll eventually get that trade coming out. And they begin to take the bomb site. Slowly slip their way on. Can they lock it down? Lifelike 3 HP right now. Can't do anything on his own. Has to wait for his teammates, but will they even arrive? The cavalry tries to come in, but somehow they land that snap as well. Logan onto Imi. That's absolutely fantastic.
It certainly is, and now it's going to be all about whether or not they can get themselves back onto this site. They've got an extra rifle against their opponents. I say that, though. Really nice push forward from Ezio. He's going to be able to punish that position, and now it's just JP in ruins. He's only got a USB to talk about. Does manage to find himself an AK, though, so maybe Ezio's in trouble here. Might have to back away from this fight. He's going to be able to take the rifle duel, and Ezio again taking yet another kill. And once again, we see these CTs just having to back away and hold on to whatever money they can afford. Mighty Max should be able to get away from that explosion pretty comfortably as well, and it's going to be many rifles on both sides, in fact, going through to this next round, but Xenex desperately in need of any kind of money they can hold on to. Alter Ego, they're absolutely laughing in terms of cash right now.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, when you look at things as well, basically, Alter Ego have already won the half. That's an 8-2 scoreline, 11 rounds in. They're looking very, very dominant. They just storm in, they take what they want. It's only been a few rounds where they've actually had a couple of misplays, where Xenex have been able to find that gap and kick the door in, but they need to try and keep that up. It's just not really working. Seems like they do have the structure there, but they just can't find their way over the hurdle at the last second.
Yeah, it certainly feels like that's the way, but we do see Arden again just pushing forwards. He's able to get these kills again and again. We see him get an entry on towards that A site, and it just doesn't seem like Xenex really have an answer for that aggressive play up mid, because we've seen a very, very similar play on multiple rounds where he just pushes forward, manages to pop someone's head, and then just backs away again. This time he is punished for it. It's traded 1-for-1, but it's not just about that kill. It's also about the information that he manages to glean for himself. But Tom Quiver wants to have a go at the same spot where Arden died. Don't think he's going to be as lucky on this one, though. The rest of the team starting to push on round towards A. Short is waiting for them, though, with the Famous. Finds one for himself and has to back away.
Yeah, that's good. He's done his job fairly well, though. He's been able to get that opening frag and get away with his life, but Mighty Max has had enough. He wants to try and bring it back to a level playing field. The spam will come out through the box off the back of Peggy's AK-47. Now it's a 2-on-3 retake situation. The bomb goes down just in the nick of time. Molotov to try and force them out of position as well, and it's looking very good. Seems like the CTs don't have the confidence to go for this. Don't want to risk losing those weapons, but they will begin to regroup. Here is actually potential now. So they work their way back round. Go for the spam just in case there's anyone playing by Graveyard and Pit, but no one's there to receive those gifts. They just bide their time. No reason to actually peek on the side of Alter Ego. Max, he's trying to go for the fight, trying to take the little aggressive peeks. Doesn't actually need to overly, but he's done a good job, and this has forced them to just back off.
Yeah, it certainly has, and once again we see these CTs just backing away. Xenex don't seem to be able to push onto any of these retakes. They have to keep on just holding these right. I think these two guys have held these AKs for at least 2 rounds in the row now, and I mean, it's great that they can pull these rifles into the next round with them. It's great that they get that little bit of a boost to their money, but what difference does it make if you can't use those rifles to achieve something? They've got to be able to make something happen with those weapons. And now Alter Ego already 7 rounds up in this first half. They're 3 rounds away from the end of the half. And if they can keep it up, like, I mean, even if they just lose the rest of the rounds for the rest of the game, they're still in a great spot. But Ezio pushing forward so aggressively, can't quite get 2 kills though. It is going to be Mighty Max chiming on in. Oh, he only got an assist in the end, but it's going to open up the B site nonetheless. And once again, we see just 2 CTs remaining, and they start to push towards this site, but again, at a disadvantage. And it just seems to be a matter of losing rifle duels at this point.
Yeah, I mean, right now from what we've seen, a lot of it just goes down to that. Overall with Xenex as well, it doesn't seem like they've got that big of a playbook. It's not really that expanded, and they don't have these answers when it's getting into these scenarios where Alter Ego just playing the clock, they're going for those early picks, and then they'll just slow it down, work it out so Xenex are wasting so much utility early on into the round. They're going for these slightly over-aggressive faces and just making mistakes where, they're trying to go for these angles where they want to get the pick. They want to try and get that initiative so they can fall back, play close angles on that CT side, but it's not going to work. They're getting bested on that one-to-one aim level, so then they have to adjust everything and overcompensate vastly, and they're not being able to lock down their CT side off the back of that, and they're moving on from that. They've been pinned into a box, and it's just the same repeat of what they're going for. Especially, we saw the nade mid-strat coming out again, and it's not really working this time around. Ego, they're aware of that, playing that slow default early into the round. It's just basically offering yourself off as a sacrifice as you run into them one by one at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to see Lifelike with the AWP here. He's really got to go big because they need something right now. And I say he needs to go big, puts one right between the eyes of Tom Quiver. And that is going to be the little bit of an advantage that they've desperately needed for the last few rounds now as Peggy looks for a way on towards this B site. B really seems to be a site that they're very comfortable pushing onto. Peggy going to be the point man here, but he's full blinded for a little while. But nobody going to really be able to punish him for this one. Gizmo on the side, just waiting for them to push onto him. But now they've slowed things down dramatically here. Still 2 CTs over towards this A site. So it's kind of a 4 versus 3 here. But it's going to be Logan taken out once more. Peggy on the scene with the AK-47. He finds a second one for himself as well. And now we've just got 1 CT remaining on the site. He's got to make something huge happen. Finds one for himself. Can't stop the bomb going down. Mighty Max is just waiting to try and get this shot onto him. But he drops as well. But there you go. Ezio on the scene at the end. Does manage to finish this one off as JP and Shaw now look to find their way back onto this site.
Yeah, this is really important as well. They need to get as many rounds they can to give themselves a bit of a buffer. Moving on to the following. Short will go through the fire and flames. Doesn't quite check that angle by second oranges. Luckily, the trade will coming off the back of JP. Peggy, aware of the scenario, is allowed to actually back off. Flashbang goes in, marks the sound, so JP can just stick on the bomb, but the timing not really going to be quite there. Somehow he gets the frag anyway when Peggy goes and takes the initiative. And the defuse will barely just come in, giving them 3 rounds on the board.
Yeah, so Xenex finally gets something, and it's off the back of, I feel, that AWP shot right from JP. Right at the start of the round, they finally, for the first time this game, I think, managed to get that entry frag, and that made it so much harder for Alter Ego to just hold down the site like they have been previously, because we kept on seeing, after the initial take from Alter Ego, they'd be 1 man up. And that 1 extra man has always made the difference. This time, it was the other way around. And when we saw the 2 versus 2 come in, that's the first time we've seen that kind of retake that's actually a level playing field for these CTs. But straight away, we actually see Lifelike going down towards Banana and does manage to find one to open things up. But Arden is going to answer as he pushes on through Abs here. But there's 2 CTs hanging around towards A. One on top of the roof, one just underneath. But here we go, Arden sneaking on through Apps. He's looking for maybe a way to distract them here so the rest of his team can start to push on up. I think that they've been spotted out here. The Deagle going to be sprayed on through this smoke, but he's not quite going to be able to find anything as another CT goes down, and suddenly there's just 2 remaining. Logan going to be on the scene with a Desert Eagle. He's got to find these shots. He's got to be the true marksman here. Does manage to stop the defuse, which is absolutely crucial for them right now, as Lifelike is going to arrive on the scene once more. Spots out Arden, can't quite land the shot onto him. Logan doesn't decide to go for a peek just yet, though, as a frag grenade comes on in. It's just going to be Arden remaining here in this 2 versus 1. Logan gets taken down, and now it's Lifelike up against the AK-47 of Arden. Can't quite find the shot, though, and Arden is looking to finish out the round. Gets a nice headshot to take it, gets a hat-trick for himself, and gets yet another round on the board for Alter Ego. Last one of the half now, and there's no money to talk about for Xenex.
There's not, and that's absolutely ridiculous that they've allowed them to get away with that as well. It never should have gone down that way into that round, and now you can see the after effects as well. You look at the money they have over on that side, it's not looking fantastic. You've got into such a critical round here as well. This is going to be the decider, and once again, they've gone for a very aggressive B play early onto the round. 3 men there. Trio are going to try and push down. Seems like they've actually been spooked and opted to back off now. If they played these close angles with a crossfire setup that it seems like they are going to go for, that could be fairly effective. It just depends if they're going to go for these ridiculous peaks once again. We also see that up control being snapped up, but it begins to quickly fall away from Messi, and Tom Quiver coming with 1 frag back-to-back on each of them. And that's going to be Logan and Shaw put into an early grave. Finally, this aggressive B play comes up. They should be mopped away. Peggy's going to kick things off as he finds a frag on Gizmo. Luckily enough, JP will eventually claim that trade. 5-7 coming in handy. Lifelike will fall. It's just left on JP now. He's already got 1 frag into the round. He has the natural tools. He's got armor and an AK-47, 1 flash to work with, but would have to slay the remaining 4 members of the Auto Urigo side. Seemed like he will just go for the pop flash peek through the smoke. Is he aware of that close angle though? Blinded right now. It's not really working out. Walks straight in front of Tom Quiver and offers himself up. And that is going to be a 12-3 scoreline.
That was unfortunate right at the end there. Honestly, I feel like when we're watching Arden with that AK, it feels like he's got an orb. His long-range AK is so accurate. Keeps on just hitting headshot after headshot at such long distances. And, I mean, we didn't quite catch it there. I tried to swap over to the CT just as Arden was about to get the kill. And before I could even do it, just a single bullet is more than enough for him to just finish anybody off. And now 3-12 is the score going into the second half. Now, obviously, that looks really bad for Xenex. However, this is the exact same score that we saw in the game last week with UE and Alter Urigo.
Yeah.
And it was UE that were down 3-12. So maybe Alter Urigo just... maybe this is their standard first half score and maybe we're about to see overtime.
I mean, you never know. There was a lot of potential. I believe Arden's actually Imi, obviously the in-game leader for the side, as far as I know. Unless there is a change that has occurred there and Imi's sick or something. But it's good to see if that actually is Imi. Imi being on point right now with AK-47. As you said, he's been able to pick up multiple entries time and time again. That's really changed the pace of the rounds. The only difference maker we actually saw that seemed organic for the side of Xenex was when Lifelike donned the AWP. As soon as they got that little bit of funding behind him in terms of the economy, he was allowed to go for those aggressive picks, and he actually made it work, whereas everyone else was just sort of being picked off far too early. Going to be interesting now as what Xenex are actually going to go for into the pistol. 3 players just waiting outside of apartments, 2 sitting down towards bottom banana. I thought they might try and go for the old fake where you just push your way in all the way through apps, make as much noise as possible on the wood, jump out of balcony, and then go for the late round B, but I'm not too sure.
Well, we'll have to see what they opt to go for here. Peggy going to be watching, though, and immediately just bareheads Lifelike. Really nice shot comes out from him. He's perfectly comfortable in that position, and now we see the push begin as Xenex look to find their way onto this A site. Just going to commit to the same push that they kind of began there, despite losing that first 1-versus-1. And as I say that, Cass's Curse comes through, and it looks like they decide to back away in the end, and they choose to push up towards B. We do still have Logan hanging around here, maybe just trying to make a bit of noise, trying to distract. Maybe just look for a single extra frag on the rotation, but in the meantime, Shaw still pushing on up. Banana here. There are 2 CTs hanging around here, though. I think they know that the rotation's happening, as well as you can see here. Arden, or maybe Imi, is just kind of hanging around, and he is going to head over towards this B site now. So the push begins. Shaw going to be the point man here, but immediately a couple of men drop. So it's going to be him and JP remaining, but he goes down now. JP trying to get onto the site, does manage to take down Arden in the end, and Mighty Max last CT on the site, but the rest of them are almost done rotating. They're about to arrive, and Mighty Max just has to survive as his teammates come and sweep the fight up in the end. Peggy finds a second headshot with that USP for the round, and that is going to be the pistol going the way of Alter Ego, which is very bad news for Xenex.
Yeah, it's an absolutely horrendous spot to be in right now for the side of Xenex. Obviously, the only option is go for the force into this round, see what you can make out of it. Potential for just a shock and awe style play. Try and throw a spanner into the works of what you go. It's the only way you're really going to have a chance. 4 nades to work with, but they're going to be used very early on to just try and cause some damage towards mid. And it actually works out very effectively now. Arden forced to fall back, obviously 15 HP left on him off the back of those nades, blowing up in the immediate vicinity. And eventually he gets claimed as well. JP coming in with a frag, utilising that Tech 9. Quiver will respond with a nade kill though. And it's looking very effective as all of a sudden Quiver and Peggy just go in as an absolute powerhouse. Lifelike getting burnt out and the rest of them getting sprayed down by Peggy's MP7. Not only has he gone in for all those frags there, he's also built up a nice healthy chunk of money off the back of those SMG kills.
Yeah, he certainly has, and that is kind of what happens when you charge in with no armor and you're up against the SMGs. You are just going to get mowed on down now. Alter Ego just 2 rounds away from clinching this game and making themselves 1-1 in the Premiership so far. I like this position coming out from Mighty Max. Should they push up Banana, it's going to be very difficult to get onto this site without just getting mowed down, because again, we actually see a lot of armor coming out here for the terrorists. And kind of a little bit of a deco with a couple of Tech 9s in there as well. But we'll see whether they can make it work for themselves, because it's kind of now or never for them.
They begin to fall. Peggy will be the first man to be bested. The Deagler JP eventually overwhelms him. There is an absolute squad of Xenex players grouping up towards mid right now, but the only unfortunate thing is the one man wielding the SMG waiting for the potential push to come out. Holding their ground. I've gone through a few information plays. There is a fair bit of utility still left over on that Ultibuka side. Majority of it stacked all in Mighty Max. And he is beginning to just hold out. Wait for the smokes to come in. Not too sure what that was, but that's happened. And there's the first frag. Mighty Max will begin to kick it off. Comes in with that MP9 to shut down the first man. They turn around just the wrong time as well. And Arden comes in from behind. Lands the headshot on towards JP. And here's Quiver. Nice pop flash to try and get the angle. No one is aware of his positioning. Arden still on a roll though. Seeming like he wants to go for the knife as well. Being able to glide past lifelike like an acrobat. But just baits it out so Quiver can land their headshot.
And there it is, match point now for Alter Your Ego. They are one away from clinching this game in the end, and Xenex just nowhere to be seen on this one. They've got to go for a full force buy here, obviously, because they lose this one, they lose the entire match. And decent amount of grenades, but just barely anything to work with here. They've got the UMP, they've got Mac 10 as well, but then just pistols for the rest of them. It's going to be lifelike on this front line with it. Tech9 does manage to find one for himself, and they do get a good start here, pushing on. But the bomb isn't actually with them right now. He's coming from behind, and JP and Shaw, with a beautiful flank, do manage to find something. Now Mighty Max does manage to get the bomb carrier, though. Which is terrible, terrible news. For Xenex, as Logan just can't land his shots. And Mighty Max has somehow found himself in a 1 versus 1. Now he's going to push up with the SMG. Should be able to finish off JP, but can't quite find it. Gets the USB out in the end. And it is going to be Alter Your Ego taking that one 16-3. And